Good morning. How's everybody doing? Very good to see you all here. I am Shantanu Chatterjee, Interim Dean of the Terry College of Business, and it is my pleasure to welcome you all to the Terry Executive Education Center for the Terry Third Thursday today. Last week, we welcomed the UGA class of 2029 to campus. That's roughly more than 6,200 incoming first-year students, which represent one of the most academically qualified classes in the university's history. And at the Terry College of Business, our strong momentum on student success continues with strong enrollment growth, excellent career placements, and top 10 public and national research rankings and program rankings for our many programs. So we are ready for another year. Thank you for being here this morning. This is the Terry Third Thursday, and it's a monthly breakfast event, as many of you know, based here in Atlanta. And it's a great opportunity for us to hear insights from industry leaders, for our alums and our students to have an opportunity to network and get this day started off right. But events like this take a lot to organize, so I want to recognize the people behind this enterprise. So our alumni board, who work for the college and support our mission and our students and our programs like this every day. So thank you very much. And our sponsors today, Synovus and the Public Broadcasting Corporation of Atlanta, WABE. We have a great list of Terry Third Thursday speakers coming up this fall. On September 18th, we will have Paul Donahue and Will Stengel from the Genuine Parts Company. On October 16th, we'll have Susanna Frost, president of Chick-fil-A. And on November 20th, we'll have Charles Watson, CEO of Small Sliders. So I hope that many of you will be able to make it for those events. But now it is my great pleasure to introduce our speaker today, Keith Credendino. Keith is the Chief Information Officer of Macy's Incorporated, overseeing technology for customer experiences, infrastructure, and operations. He leads Macy's modernization through data-driven personalization, warehouse automation, and labor optimization. He joined Macy's in 2022 as a Senior VP of Technology, focusing on product development and customer experience. Previously, he was SVP of Digital Technology and Enterprise Data at Inspire Brands. Keith also held executive roles at the Home Depot, IHG, and Cox Enterprises, leading global e-commerce, loyalty systems, contact centers, and digital infrastructure. He earned a BBA in MIS from the Terry College of Business. We're very proud of Keith, and an MBA from Georgia State, but that's okay. So please join me this morning in welcoming Keith Credendino.
Good morning, everybody. How's everybody doing this morning? Good to see everybody. I appreciate you coming and making the trip so early in the morning to see me, especially some familiar faces that I've seen, and of course, some partners that I found out we have in the office in the room that support us. Been to this event many times, this Terry Third Thursday. My first time on this side of the mic, and I'm looking forward to sharing a little bit about me, a lot about Macy's, and then what's going on in our industry. But before we do that, I would go ahead and let's play a little sizzle reel, get some energy flowing in the room, because I know many of us are on our first sip of coffee because it's that early in the morning. So if you don't mind, actually, I'll go ahead and turn us. All right, so there's a reason I played that video, not just to introduce you to Macy's. I think most in this room will know who Macy's is, but we're much more than just a store. And we'll talk about that in a moment. What you'll see in there is some of the operations that actually help us execute to create a great customer experience. But also, we provide the culture, we are integrated into the culture of American society. We're providing a lot of entertainment, a lot of stories for consumers. You've seen that video, you'll see a lot of people smiling or attending events such as the Thanksgiving Day Parade. And I'll talk a little bit more about that and who we are in a moment. But before we do, let me properly introduce myself a little bit more. So again, as Dr. Chatterjee shared, and congratulations on your interim appointment, Dr. Chatterjee, I'm Keith Credendino. I have the privilege of leading our technology organization. Many may not know, but the technology organization is actually based here in Atlanta. People tend to think of Macy's, they think of New York, and that's true. You should be thinking about that. But the technology team most of the team is based here in Atlanta, specifically in the Johns Creek office. I am a Terry grad. I graduated in 1997 with the MIS degree. So proud alumni. I did go to Georgia State as well, but that's okay. Still, my roots are based here in Terry. Fun story is for me, and a little bit of a fact, is when I decided to come to the University of Georgia and I got in the car to come to school, it was my first time ever visiting the state of Georgia. I didn't even know anything about the school. Well, I know about the school, about the state or about the city. This was pre-internet, so there was no searching and finding out what goes on in that city or doing all your online publications to see what the campus life's about on a whim. So I grew up in New York. On a whim, I got in a car, I went down I-95, flipped over to 85, made my way down to the state of Georgia, and I've never looked back. It was probably one of the best decisions I've made in my entire life. So there is some risk. It wasn't overly calculated risk, but it was some risk, and I'm very happy I did it. Because there's so many things that the University of Georgia gave me. One, clearly a fine education. Nothing finer in the land, right? Two, is it helped me propel my career. You'll hear more about that in a moment, but it helped me land a job with Home Depot, an amazing organization based here in Atlanta. Three, definitely most importantly, because this is being recorded and there will be evidence here, it helped me get my wife. So my wife, too, is a Terry College graduate. In fact, MIS as well. And my daughter, so you can see my family in the bottom right here, my daughter Brooke, so my wife Amanda, sorry, we just celebrated this past Monday 24 years of marriage. So very exciting. Thank you. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. And you know how I celebrated my anniversary on Monday? Don't judge me. I went to dinner with a vendor. You're judging. I know. Don't worry though, we did celebrate. It is a true statement. By the way, thank you to the vendors that did come out and support today. I appreciate it. You're that important to me. So my daughter, Brooke, is a third year at the University of Georgia, also in the Terry College of Business, pursuing her MIS degree. So she is MIS. She just wrapped up her application to double major. So she is trying to add finance. So she just submitted that over the summer. Excited. But you guys remember the Ginzu knife commercial? But wait, there's more. Yeah. So my son, Carson, who's in the room over here to the right of me, sorry to embarrass you, Carson, is wrapping up, or just starting his senior year, wrapping up his application with the ambition, the hopes to join the Terry College of Business and the University of Georgia in the class of 2030 next fall. So I'm really excited. I'm so proud of Carson. I'm going to embarrass you here for a minute, because just last night, he was voted by his peers and appointed by his coach to be the team captain of his water polo team. So excited. So you can see I'm a big Georgia fan. We have season tickets. We've had them for decades. We go to all the games. We went to obviously the national, can't not go to the national title game in 2021. You want to see a grown man cry, you should have seen me at that game. 2022, we went to LA as well. We're big Georgia fans. How can you not be? I went back to try to find a picture from when I was in college to show. The ones I found probably not appropriate. The other ones, I just couldn't find any. I didn't bring my Kodak camera around everywhere I was going. So I did find a picture of my daughter's first game, which is on the top right, which was in 2005. And then that's us on the ski slopes. You wouldn't know it because you can't see our faces, but when you don't see me at work, I'm usually on the ski slope skiing or snowboarding. And every year we do it I do it multiple times a year, but we also go on a Christmas trip and I dress up in Santa on Christmas Day and we go skiing, and that's my daughter in our elf outfit. And I'm from New York, so my son has adopted the New York Rangers. And when you don't see me on the ski slopes, we are usually at Lake Lanier doing some sports activities up there. So from a career journey perspective, I mentioned that the University of Georgia was amazing to me. Amazing to you too, I'm sure. And I would say is it helped me get my launch of my career. What you don't see in this slide is they helped me get my first internship. So I internship with Waffle House here, and it was in Norcross. But my first official start to my career at Home Depot. I was working on the mainframe system. So they literally connected me with the company, and they made that possible. And I was working on the mainframe systems, very sexy and cool, writing COBOL programs. I know we're all excited about that. And we still have them around though. I could probably go make more money than I'm making now writing COBOL. And I eventually got recruited internally in Home Depot to be a part of the first ever digital team. Or at the time, it was probably called e-commerce or .com or something along those lines. First ever. I like to say I peaked early in my career because the first ever order through HomeDepot.com went through my code. So I really hope that person got their order. But let's say it was such an experience. I have so much love for that brand. I then got recruited out to be a part of ISG. I was with ISG for 15 years, had many roles in the organization. You name it, probably had it within the company, leading consumer technology, loyalty and marketing and on-premise technology within our restaurants and hotels. What an amazing experience. So it's at the time when I joined, it was the largest hotel company in the world, still one of the largest hotel companies in the world, again, here in Atlanta. I did spend some time at Cox. Cox Net, which doesn't technically exist anymore, supported Cox newspapers. And this was my first opportunity to be the CTO of an organization. I didn't have the official CTO title. It was like Director of Technology, I believe, at the time. And I was running all the digital, over 30 websites, supporting the online presence from a newspaper's perspective. So you think about it like AJC.com, just to give you an example. Austin Statesman, Palm Beach Post, Dayton Daily News, handful of others. It was my first opportunity to own technology soup to nuts at the same time. And then there was something missing in my life. Because when I think about those three organizations, all amazing organizations, have so much love, so many things to say about them. It might not be obvious to you, but it will be when I say it. I was missing some red and black in my life. So what I did was go to Inspire Brands. So Inspire Brands, very new company. I joined when they were new, which was in 2018. Many of you may have heard them by now. They're a $30 billion, second largest restaurant company in the US behind McDonald's. They own brands such as Jimmy John's and Baskin Robbins and Dunkin' Donuts and a handful of others. And I got to be a part of all the acquisitions. So they started as Arby's and they grew to Inspire Brands and bought all these companies. I got to be a part of that. What an amazing, rewarding time. And then through connections and relationships and love of retail, I went to Macy's. And what an amazing brand. We'll talk about that in a moment. And one of the things that brought me to Macy's was the love of retail, as I said. Retail is such a complex business. People think about you just go into a store. Where does technology come in? You got the store. You got to run the store. You got which we'll talk about more in a minute. You got call centers. You got digital platforms. You got marketing technology. You got supply chain systems. You got inventory. You got forecasting and planning and buying. It's such a complex business. And I love complex businesses. I love complex challenges. And I love the physical environment, yet the digital environment coming together. And so I joined Macy's. Several months into my tenure into Macy's, I get a text from my brother. And he's going through some old photos. And he pulls up this photo. And he sends it to me. And I go, oh, that's great. Thanks for sending this historical photo. He goes, no, there's a story behind this. So my roots run deep. This is my great-grandfather, Lou Gargliardo, in Manhattan, driving an RH Macy's truck, doing deliveries or some kind of distribution in the early 1900s. He was an immigrant from Italy and came over. This must have been one of his first jobs. I met him. He's not foreign to me. I mean, he's no longer with us, unfortunately, but I've met him. So I know him. I grew up in New York. I've visited him many times. But what a great connection. So my history truly runs deep. There's a reason why it's in my blood. There's a rumor that He built an addition to his home from the wood pallets in the back of the truck. I don't know if that's true or not, but I'm claiming it because that's a pretty good story if that's the case. My asset protection team heard me tell that story once, and they came up to me after a meeting and said, we got to talk, and we got some interest to pay. So now enough about me. Let's talk a little bit about Macy's. If you don't know who we are, just look right across the street and you'll see a sign that says Macy's, and it's at a building, a nice retailer. I hope you go visit. But we're more than just Macy's. Many people don't realize that. So we are an American modern department store. We also have brands like Bloomingdale's catering to our luxury market with designer brands. And then Blue Mercury, which is our beauty business. You'll hear a little bit more about them in a moment. But we're also more than a store. We're a story. And we want to be a part of your story. Right? Whether we're helping you celebrate big moments like the Thanksgiving Day Parade, we're about to celebrate our 99th this year, which means obviously 100 will be next year. Or the fireworks on 4th of July where we take over Manhattan. And we just celebrated, we're about to celebrate our 50th next year, so we just wrapped up our 49th. Or it could be your personal stories. Stories such as your first date that you're coming to shop for, your first prom, first wedding, first baby. Hopefully it's your last wedding. First baby. Right? These are events that really define who you are. And we want to help be a part of that story. There was a story I was just talking about a month ago with one of our store managers. And they were telling me how somebody came in, they were going to interview for the first interview. And they were nervous and they didn't know what to wear. And one of our colleagues helped them through the store pick out the perfect outfit, but also gave some advice about, stand tall, be confident, look them in the eye. And they had a conversation. About a month later, the person came into the store, not to buy anything. I hope they did buy something, but not to buy anything, but to come find that colleague and say, I got the job. That's the stories we want to create. So this is a little bit of by the numbers for Macy's. I'm not going to go through all this, but give you a sense that we're much more than a store. We had 31 million viewers watching the parade this past year. 31 million. We're the most watched entertainment program outside of sports, if you will, like the Super Bowl. I think the Academy Awards was number 2 on the list. We're a part of American culture. $22 billion in sales. We have the largest store in the US. You can go see us in Herald Square. I actually happen to have an office several floors above where our retail space is in Herald Square. I don't remember, I wasn't alive, but I remember reading a story though about when they built that over on 34th Street. Everybody's like, why would they build a store on 34th Street? No one goes that far up there. That's out in the sticks. And now it's right in the center of Manhattan, a full city block. We're the 4th largest fashion e-retailer. We have 30 of our own brands that we make ourselves. Also some fun facts. We are the 2nd largest consumer of helium in the world. So a couple things about that. You're like, well, who's the first? You're going to tell us? It's the US military. They're the first consumer. In fact, we had to put a pause on our parade during the World War II, because there was a run on helium for the war to support the US military. And so there was a gap so some people say, well, you started the parade here, but you're about to celebrate your 99th. The math doesn't add up. It's because we actually didn't have the parade for a few years because we had to support the war. We're a pioneer in innovation in many categories. And you can see some of these here, such as the first liquor license in New York. I think it happened twice, I believe. We initially got it, Prohibition happened, then we were the first to get it again after Prohibition. We're also some other fun facts, and I read this one in Forbes, so you can fact check me, this is where I read it, is we introduced the colored bath towel, we introduced tea bags, we introduced the Idaho baked potato. I mean, we are innovators within our organization, and we have a long history of it. Our parade won 9 daytime Emmys, and I think we were nominated for many more. I don't even think we have the count on that. And then from a store perspective, we have 580 stores throughout the US. You'll see the breakdown here, about 350 for Macy's, 59 for Bloomingdale's, and 170 for Blue Mercury. And we're spending and investing a lot of our time is creating a better customer experience for people in our stores. People want to shop. They want a bright environment. They want people to help them. So you'll see this call out, this first 50, next 75, we'll just add it up and call it our reimagined 125 stores. We're spending a lot of time investing in our stores. We'll get it to the entire fleet at some point. But right now we have 125 stores where we've helped brighten it up, make sure that the physical environment's working, make sure the technology is pristine. We're making sure that we have the right products that people want to buy. We're rethinking the type of brands and the products that we have in these stores. We're also making sure we have the right hours, i.e. enough colleagues in the store to support you and help you. We don't want to just be there when you're checking out. We want to be a part of your shopping experience and help you so we can create other stories such as your first interview landed to your first job. And that's what we're focusing on. But we're not just the store. Our largest selling channel is our digital space. And so we want to make sure we have an omni-channel experience, however. We don't want to think of it as just stores. We don't want to think of it as just digital. How do we connect the dots on all? And so we offer to our consumers, what channel do you want to shop in and explore? And in many of our consumers, they do both or three. There's call center as well. They'll call into our call center and place orders. We have a lot of that, especially for big ticket purchases like furniture. They want to learn a little bit more about the furniture. They just don't want to see it on the screen. They want to talk to somebody. Maybe they can't go to a furniture store near them. We want to be able to say is, do you want to buy it online and pick it up in the store right today? Do you want to buy it online and ship it to your store because you don't want to send it to your address? Maybe you're visiting a location. Do you want a same-day delivery? We'll get it to you within several hours. Do you want to pick it up in curbside, which is obviously a big thing during COVID? And then if you can't find the assortment in our stores that you want, we have an expanded assortment in our digital channels through our resellers and our marketplace. But we're not any marketplace. We want anybody to sell with us. We're very selective and curated about who can actually sell with Macy's because we're representing those brands. We play a big impact in the state of Georgia in many ways. One is we employ over 3,000 colleagues throughout this state. We're a big employer of the state. We have 25 stores throughout the state of Georgia, 21 being in Metro Atlanta, so we have no excuses to not go shopping, no excuses to come visit us and see us. We have a distribution center right over in Stone Mountain that moves a lot of products into our stores. And we have a corporate office, as I mentioned earlier, in Johns Creek. So our main corporate office is in Herald Square, as I noted earlier as well, but our technology in most of the building, most, not all, because we have some business partners that support us, and we'll welcome anybody from Macy's that wants to join us, but we're in the Johns Creek building. But we don't just serve our customers through our products. We serve our community. We make sure we give back. So these are some of the events on there, but I want to highlight one that you don't see on here. Was it Tuesday, I believe? Just Tuesday, this week, I think it was Tuesday or Wednesday, I can't remember, I think it was Tuesday. I was getting pied in the face. I'm glad I didn't put that picture here. Because we were doing a fundraiser in our office to help one of these charities that we support. You would think that no one would want to pie the person that's leading the technology team. For some reason, people had a lot of aggression when they were pieing. I feel like 3 days later, and I'm still washing out the stench from that whipped cream in my hair, but all for a good cause. But that's a big focus of ours. Now let's shift gears to what the trends are in retail. What's going on in our industry? I won't spend time on this entire slide, but I share it to highlight a few things. In the last decade, there's been a lot of change. Retail is a tough business. It's an ever-changing, moving business. There's so many things that get introduced that really disrupt retail. I'll just cherry pick a few of these, just to give you an example. Companies that we sell their product, these are our brands and our partners that we're selling their product to our stores. There was a big revolution about those brands selling direct, where you can go directly on their website and go buy it. Or maybe they were opening up outlet stores near you that you can go buy it. So now they're not only our competitors, but they're also they're partners, but now they're our competitors. You know, this was a big disruption. Social media, very big disruption. Why? Because you got to think of all those influencers out there trying to get you to buy a very specific product from their very specific store. People paying a lot of money to these influencers to promote their product. Another would be clearly COVID. COVID had a big impact. We closed down all of our stores. Think about that. We are a physical retailer. We had to close down every single store. And not only that, we did enable curbside, but no one was going out to dinner in their first interviews. No one's going to these events. And so you think about that. That was a tough time for us. Ironically, right after that, it was a great time for us because what you had was people now getting out of their homes and they wanted to go back to their cocktail dinners or their socials with their friends or work. Well, they needed to dress up. They needed different clothes. They could no longer wear their sweatpants behind the screen. And that was a big boom for us. And our digital channel went bonkers at that time as well. It was a very big time. And the stimulus money from the government helped as well. So there was a lot of money injected into the economy. I think many industries felt. And there's many things we all know about inflation. Now the big word is tariffs. These are things that are always constantly impacting us. What you don't see in this slide, and we'll talk a little bit in a moment here, is AI. What's AI going to do? How you shop and how you find product. So again, a lot of disruptors in the industry. Then we also have events we have to think about. So when you think about events, there's very typical events that you know about. Easter and Mother's Day and Father's Day. You know, it's so funny to see the patterns of how people shop. It's like Mother's Day, it's like everybody buys the day of Mother's Day or the day before. It's like Father's Day, they're like buying so soon and they're so thoughtful. I don't know what those patterns are and why they're dictated that way. You figure it out on your own. And then, of course, Christmas and Black Friday. And this is just a chart to show you exactly what's going on in the retail landscape and consumer goods. But you also have events that you don't plan for and you don't predict. So last year, there was labor strike at the ports. And you'll see sales and demand increase because people knew that these labor strikes were coming. I got to get my product now. I got to buy it before it gets stuck at the port. I don't know how long this labor strike's going to happen. And so if it actually says I can't buy those things, just like tariffs are doing now, people are buying cars because they're worried that the price of their cars will go up, makes a mad rush. These are the type of events that we have to be mindful of. It's a very complex business. It's also a very competitive business. Very competitive business, especially in fashion. We have to think newness matters. People want newness. They want to have the latest trends, the latest fashion. Interestingly enough, we have to dictate some of those trends because we have to start making and/or buying these products so far in advance. We already have the winter stuff coming on a ship. We already purchased the spring stuff. We got to know what's relevant, what's important. And by the way, not only what's relevant, what's important, what's on trend, how much of it are you willing to buy? So now how much should we buy? Because if we buy too much, all of a sudden we have a situation we have to liquidate that. If we don't buy enough, we're missing out on sales. It makes it complex. This isn't about building widgets that you're constantly refreshing in a normal retailer, an everyday retailer, where it's like we know exactly what our demand's going to look like. It makes it really tricky. And we have a lot of competition. We have our department store competition, which you see on the slide here. We also have our mass retailers. These companies that traditionally sell you groceries or everyday essentials are also selling fashion. And by the way, we sell everyday things that you would normally replenish, like maybe, there's blenders and there's other things that we sell that you can buy at these retailers. Then there's off-price, where people are looking for deals on fashionable items. Now, they're treasure hunts because you don't know what you're going to find until you get there, but people love that treasure hunt. And there's another companies that we have to compete with. And then what we have is fast fashion, which has been a big talk in the last several years, where these companies are manufacturing. I personally like to call them like almost disposable clothing, where it's like very cheap but easy for people to reach and get, shipped directly to your house. Now, the de minimis tax laws back in May will help us with that because now they're going to start getting taxed. And that means that it's not as cheap as it once was. But this is not only a complex, but a very fierce, competitive environment. So what are we doing at Macy's to make sure we address that? We've launched a new strategy we call a bold new chapter. This is about 1.5 years to 2 years ago. We're going to focus on strengthening Macy's. I talked a little bit about what we were going to do earlier, which we're going to inject hours into our stores. We're going to get the right product. We're going to make sure that those stores are a great experience. We're investing into our supply chain. We're investing into our digital and our personalization. Talk just a little bit about that in a moment. Make sure that we have the right luxury focus. There's a lot of money to be spent within the luxury market, but it's fickle too. People want designer brands. They want to reach the top as far as, stretch as far as some of these amazing brands that we have. Make sure we continue to focus on that market. And then we want to simplify our operations and how we work, whether it be technology, such as simplifying our technology stack. We just went a couple years ago, we launched a strategy around rationalizing our technology and getting rid of some of the legacy technology and making sure that we're simplifying. So it's easier for us to build solutions, develop solutions, launch solutions for our business partners so we can enable the business, so we can do all the things that we want to do to grow as an organization. And then, of course, our supply chain, which we'll talk about in a moment too. Make sure we have the right technology, the right support to be efficient. We can get you that package as fast as possible. We know people care about speed of delivery and accuracy of delivery, which is clearly important as well. Sure don't want something to show up your door that's not even yours, or they gave you the wrong product. So we think about how technology is transforming the retail industry. I'll give you just a couple examples. There's so much. People, when they think of the stores, people think, oh, you guys just have a point of sale. Like, that's all you have. It's just a point of sale from a technology perspective. Oh, no. So much more complex than that. And that's complex as well. So I don't want to belittle point of sales because they're quite complex. The payments and taking inventory, all that. But we're doing so much more. I'll give you a couple examples. Using AI to determine how many hours should we be putting. When I say hours, it's how many people on the floor helping customers, how many hours we should be putting into the stores based on predicting demand. Demand is driven by so many things. What events are going on? What's the weather going to be? What else is going on in the economy? What time of year it is? I'll give you a good example because we're here in the Georgia room. Is last year, Georgia played Georgia Tech on Black Friday, right? In Athens, 8 overtimes. We all remember that game, right? We see our local demand went down. It's that real. Local demand goes down. By the way, go to the Mall of Georgia. They have a cool UGA section. Go visit if you live in that area. And it's a fantastic mall. All these are fantastic malls and stores. But we have to think about that. Could we have put too many people supporting customers that aren't coming in because they're all going to the Georgia Tech game or watching it online? When you think Black Friday is like our biggest day of the year? And then we got to think about one of the things we do around inventory and the products we have. We are one of the first and probably one of the top tier retailers that put RFID tags into virtually every single one of our products. So now we know exactly what inventory we have and where it is in the building. Did it get unloaded from the truck yet? Did it get unboxed? Is it in the back room? Is it on the floor so we can actually sell it? You'd be surprised that sometimes we have that product. It's in the back room. No one put it on there because we didn't know we had no mediums left. Because all you saw was the blue shirt. We didn't realize there was no mediums in there, so people are going to skip right over it. We literally arm our colleagues with Geiger counters. This is some of the technology we put in our stores where they walk around and it beeps and it gets louder and faster as you go find the product. And why do we need to find it? So we could do inventory as I described, but also we pick inventory from our floors because we want to fulfill consumers. Sometimes we ship you a product directly from our store. Or maybe you purchase a product that you want same-day delivery for, or you want to pick it up in the store that day. We go find that product pretty easily with our technology. It's helping us in doing inventory. Marketing and digital, hyper-personalization. We want to make sure we're getting relevant content to you as a consumer. A good example of that would be is maybe you made a purchase, bought a new pair of pants or a suit. Now we can start targeting you offers to complement what you just purchased versus just random products that you wouldn't be interested in, such as maybe belt and shoes to go with that suit. Make it relevant for you. Or maybe you purchase a very specific brand and certain sizes in that brand, and we know it's been a year, and it's usually an item that you replace in a year. Why don't we target you, promotion to encourage you to come back and try us again? And then our supply chain. Instead of me actually talking about on this slide, I'll show you a quick video. I'm going to talk over the video. There's no sound. Talk a little bit about some of the technology we're doing in the supply chain. In fact, we have a partner in the audience that I appreciate you guys coming out that's helping us make some of this possible. So what you see here is a lot of technology that we're launching into our supply chain network and our warehouses. These are robots that are flying around a massive grid, going to 10 to 15 bins deep to store product, find product, and bring it to our colleagues. Then the technology, we put products in these pocket sorters that send the product and zip it around the entire building so it can get there faster and more accurately. Then we got to get the product into a box. These boxes will literally shape around whatever you're shipping and auto box it for you. And we do the same with bags. We have bags that will literally, you get products, sometimes you get a shirt and it comes in a bag. It'll stuff it in the bag, take all the air out, and then seal it up. And there you see some of the bags falling off there. A lot of technology that makes it possible and to integrate. Again, complex environments. That's why I'm here. So much fun. And then you got to think about AI. So AI, I couldn't have this presentation without talking about AI, I know. I don't want to spend too much time talking about what Macy's is doing with AI. I just can't disclose too much. Also, it's earnings season. Next Thursday is earnings. But I will share is what are some of the trends you're seeing in retail when it comes to AI? I just cherry picked 4, so I'll talk to you about 4. So one would be product knowledge assistant. You may walk into a store. Who here has gone to, raise your hand if you've gone to a cocktail reception in your life? More than 2 people, right? Okay, thank you. I was like, there's no way. Do you even know what to wear to a cocktail reception? Like, am I overdressed? Am I underdressed? Can you imagine, can you walk in and talk to a colleague that could potentially use an AI assistant to say, this person's looking for a black flowy dress to wear to a cocktail dress. Do we have anything in stock? Think about the power of that if the colleague doesn't know exactly, and then you can start showing it. Now, these are examples. We had an example of a competitor where somebody walked in, says, I'm not quite sure the style of what this is that I'm wearing. They literally just take a picture of it, and you can actually start getting a sense for what it is, what the style is, what the brand is, what the material is, et cetera. Now, there's call center agents. How do we leverage technology to support, especially some of the most common items that come up when people are calling our call centers? Good example that would be, where's my order? That's a very typical use case in retail. People are like, where's my order? It's not here yet, or it's got delivered to somebody else's house, or it's not accurate. What about discussing with an AI chatbot to solve that for you? Reship it, making decisions and acting on your behalf, just like an agent would. We can reship that product for you. Oh, I see where it is. We'll get that addressed for you. Or by the way, it's going to arrive tomorrow at X time. This is still your address. So these are things that people are looking at and companies are looking at, just like us, we're looking at. Coding assistance. This is technology to help our engineering community develop faster with higher quality, less rework. This is something we are actively engaged on, and a lot of companies like us are looking at. And we're getting a lot of productivity as a result. So not only is our engineering community happy because they're getting tools to help them do their job easier and faster, but now we're getting more productive and we can get new products out to support our customers and make our customers, ultimately that's what we're about, happy. And then AI shopping assistants. You know, you may have watched the Academy Awards or the Grammys. I can never remember which one's the music one, which one's the movie. I probably neither one of them, maybe, I don't know. But you may have seen it and you're like, I want to know what so-and-so is wearing at that because I want to dress like that. You could talk to AI or what are the newest trends? The shift is happening. It's real. Last holiday, people started shifting more away from just doing Google searches or looking at forums and even influencers to talking to AI bots and say, what should I gift my 85-year-old grandmother, and here's what she lives and here's her interests, and voila, right? People are doing that more and more. So these are things that are really transforming our industry in an AI. So this was just a little glimpse about me, about Macy's, about what's going on in retail, some of the trends that you see, and specifically how technology, of course, as a technologist, I have to share a little bit about what we're doing and how we support the end customer and our colleagues. I'm going to break for some questions, but before I do, I want to share this QR code because you have to scan it. So who here has a Macy's app right now loaded? It's okay. You can. All right. I saw a few hands. You come up and find me. I got $10 gift cards for you to go shopping. We have many stores right around the corner from you. No excuse not to go shop with us. Within walking distance here, you can hit every one of our brands. I encourage you to go shop with us. But I got good news, because I didn't want you to feel left out. Scan the QR code, register for an account, and within a day, you should get $10 dropped into your account. So I don't want to leave you out as well, because we need to convert you to customers and help you shop with us. And that's it. So I think we're in the question time, right? We'll have some mic runners here. I think we have, I'm right on time. All right.
I'm a few minutes for questions. So if you do have a question, please signal for the mic.
Yeah, signal a mic and we'll get you a mic. And it'd be helpful for me if maybe you can introduce yourself, what company or what area, or if anything you want to represent. Maybe if you're UGA Terry alum or even a UGA alum, I would love to hear that too.
Hey, Keith, thank you. Jeff Anderson, 1986 grad of the Terry School. And I run an executive search firm, but I had 30 years with the Big Four with Arthur Andersen and Ernst & Young. So my question is that 10 years ago, you were thinking about AI, I'm sure, whereas now taxi cab drivers are talking about AI and what it is. So I'm just curious, if you look back throughout your career, all the kind of waves from blockchain to software to applications to the internet, all the things that people like you were thinking about 10 years ahead of the general public, AI will spawn a lot of stuff. Like when you guys get a quiet moment or you really smart people are meeting with other technologists or futurists, 15 years from now, is there something out there that we need to be thinking about as business leaders?
Jeff, thank you for the question. If I had that, I'm sorry, but I would be quite rich right now. So it wouldn't be the Terry College of Business anymore. It'd be the Credendino College of Business. But it's a great question. So a couple of things about AI. We've been doing AI for decades. We have. What's really been changing is the introduction of new capabilities within the AI. So one, I like to call it traditional AI. Think of it like machine learning and really doing a lot of predictive analysis. So for example, we leverage AI, we've been for years, around customer lifetime value. Taking the information about Jeff, how he interacts with us, he integrates with our loyalty program. He has the Macy's mobile app, right, Jeff? And what's his customer lifetime value? And then that can help us make better marketing decisions with Jeff. We've been doing that for some time now. Then Gen AI came about, and now we can actually create. We can create content, especially in the marketing aspect of things. So that was the next generation, and that is quite new. I wouldn't say it's been around for decades by any stretch. That was probably much more of a 2022, 2023 with ChatGPT and the like. And now the big buzzword is agentic. So I like to say that agentic is more about the acting and doing something on your behalf. So we have traditional, which is much more predictive. You have the generative, which creating content, so it creates. And then you have acting, which is our agentic. And it's moving fast. Technology moves so fast. I have no idea why I selected this career. Sometimes I'm like, how do you keep up? First of all, surround yourself with smarter people than you, and that's how you do it. And this is something that we constantly just to say is, how do we solve for some of these issues? And some come and go. You didn't mention metaverse, but how big of a deal is metaverse? It's like, oh, this virtual reality, we have to get our NFT tokens, all the token rage. This one's sticking. This one is real, and we're gonna feel the impact of it. It's hard to predict what's next because it's moving so fast with Moore's law and the like. It's really hard to predict. I think what's focused right now is the applicability of it all. How do we apply it? Not because it's sexy or it's cool or it's a shiny object, but because it's actually going to add value to the lives of our consumers and our colleagues, whether it be from a savings perspective, which we can inject more into the business and help grow it, or from a revenue perspective. And so that's probably about the answer I can give you. There's going to be something new in the 5-10 years. I think this, though, is a moment. This is a history books moment, right? Some of those were blockchain's pretty cool, metaverse is pretty cool. This is a history books moment that people will be studying for years. And talk about University of Georgia, and it's impacting truly the next generation of people being hired. I was reading a Wall Street Journal article recently about how less and less entry-level people are being hired directly because the companies don't want to invest when they want to spend, they can have AI do it. I put that in quotes for a reason. All right, great question. Thank you.
Hey, I'm Connor Woodruff. We're also one of your vendors. I'm with ServiceNow and MIS graduate, Terry College of Business. So my question and what we've been seeing in the marketplace is that everyone wants to get use out of AI, but their data strategy isn't quite there, or their systems aren't talking to each other.
Great question.
And then when we get to agentic AI, not only do we need access to those systems, we need hands for the AI to actually take actions and make changes within those sources of truth. So can you tell me a little bit about how have you or your peers adjusted to the data strategy, and how do you see changes moving forward and how people structure the data across their business?
Thank you for the question, Connor, and thank you for being a great partner. It's almost like you were in our boardroom when I present and I talk to them about, we got to clean our data, which means, i.e., I need money. So there's a couple things to unpack here. One is clean data will help elevate your business and help elevate your strategies. No question about it. And we're on a journey to clean up our data. And it's always a balancing act, right? You got to spend capital to do that and energy to do that. And that's opportunity cost. You think about putting capital into cleaning your data means potentially not fixing a fixture, a light fixture or an escalator in your store. Both equally capital is not unlimited. So it's a balancing act, and we got to figure that out. But we are investing. But we can also, especially with Gen AI, especially with these new large language models, you can leverage unstructured data quite well. A good example of that would be is if we have things like HR policies. Connor wants to know how much vacation time he gets at a certain level within his organization. All of that's in like these PDFs, and it's stored somewhere on SharePoint, very hard to get to, and you're not even sure if you're looking at the right one and where was it dated. That's the kind of stuff that you can upload into an AI model today, and it could take available usage of all of that unstructured information and make sense out of it and answer your questions. So to answer your question, Connor, it's both. We got to clean our data for some use cases, but we have plenty of unstructured data that we can leverage for other use cases. So it's not a cop-out, it's a reality answer of we're doing both. Yeah, thank you.
Keith, thank you for this. Dean, thank you for you and your team putting this together. My name is Michael Gargiulo. I graduated with finance and risk management. I just got my paralegal certificate too, and was one of the first entrepreneurship certificate graduates at UGA. I work at a company called VPN.com, and we live in the earnings per visit space. So when a customer comes to our website, you can do all the metrics you want in the world, but at the end of the day, it is an earnings per visit from our business model standpoint. I grew up, my family has commercial real estate, and in that time, we lived in the earnings per square foot space, and still do. But you live at the intersection of both of those with stores and the online, and you've seen maybe what I could call like cannibalism of the earnings per foot going down with people moving online. How do you describe the trends of these metrics, and are these metrics something that you and your executive team are constantly focused on, or are there other metrics that are more important maybe that track your online and physical spaces?
Yeah, thanks for the question,
Thank you,
Michael. And congratulations on your recent certificates.
I'd recommend paralegal certificate to everybody. The Gwinnett campus is the UGA paralegal. If you work with attorneys, get your paralegal.
Get this man some money for that plug. So we look at all those metrics. We look at conversion on digital, for example. It doesn't matter how many times you visit us. It's, are you purchasing with us? In fact, you're costing us money when you visit our website. We got to compute, we got storage, we got information we got to gather for you. So we absolutely look at that. We look at a return on investment on our advertising spend. Is it converting, right? People, we're getting traffic to our site. We absolutely look at it from a square footage perspective in our stores, in our footprints. We monitor traffic in our stores. We have the ability to see who's coming into our stores and how they're converting, not who specifically the person. We obviously respect privacy, and how they're converting within our stores. We've even deployed some mechanisms to take advantage of the square footage space because of certain dynamics in the industry. So I didn't mention, there's so much to mention here, we don't have enough time, but I didn't mention we also have a brand called Backstage. Backstage is a off-price solution that enables customers to do that treasure hunt that I mentioned earlier. So we have name brand products that you could sell at a discounted price and go and have your fun doing the treasure hunt and getting that value that you're seeking. Those backstages are mostly, not completely, mostly installed within our Macy's stores. So if you go to this Macy's store right across the street, you'll go visit a backstage. It's branded differently. They don't sell the same product. In many cases, they don't even sell the same brands. It's what we call a store within a store. And so now what you're doing is we're taking advantage of this square feet problem, and we're turning it into new opportunities. And they're doing quite well. It's growing quite well. Go visit. I'm telling you, they got some great products. My kids love it too. And they have no choice because they only get so much money that they can spend. But that's how we're solving it. Thinking about the return on investment, think about the traffic and conversion. Do we have the features, the products, the assortment? And we make decisions based on all that information. Maybe you're not buying on digital because our prices are too high, or we're not on sale, or we don't have the product that you want. So many factors go in to looking out. And again, it's back to a complex business. Yeah, thank you for the question.
Thank you.
Hi, good morning, Keith. Thank you so much for your program and all the insight on Macy's. My name is Kyle Kurtz. I've been with J. Hilburn for 14 years. It's a men's custom clothing brand based out of Dallas. We're a non-storefront model. Before I go any further, I do want to say my very first job ever was at Macy's at Perimeter at 16 years old. And I always said my entire life it was my favorite job ever. I was in the men's department because guys would just come in, they knew what they wanted, they left, and they never came back. So ironically, I ended up with J. Hilburn. But I'm very involved with our corporate. What are your thoughts, and are you guys considering custom assortments? I mean, menswear leads it. There is some, women's apparel out there. Due to the sustainability of it, I know custom is a huge growing area, even across other merchandise.
Yeah, thank you for the question, Kyle, and so glad to hear that we're Macy's alum as well. Custom's a tough business. It's complicated as well. We do provide things like alterations of the products that we sell. I don't know specifically if we have a custom program that we're considering and launching. I think the demand would be the question on that, especially for the consumers that we have. For me, it feels very ripe for like a Bloomingdale's experience where people are expecting and want and are willing to pay the best versus maybe a Macy's where I'm going into my first interview. I probably don't have the time, the money, the resources to get something custom made for me. It's an interesting question, but I think, this is my opinion, not Macy's, I think it would be a complex one to solve because of the lack of demand of the kind of the whole juice is worth the squeeze kind of metaphor. But I think it's something for Bloomingdale's for sure. And again, we do even alterations, which we do. We've seen ebbs and flows of that, of people not wanting, they just want the suit and they want to get out. And maybe grandma knows how to alter the suit. I kid you not, right? And so I think it ebbs and flows. Yeah, thanks for the question.
Hey, good morning. Thanks for being here. I'm Bronson Lee. I'm a UGA grad. I work in the business agility space and consulting and coaching with innovation into action. And I'm curious from your standpoint, like a lot of your counterparts, you're a very positive business forward. You're clearly in touch with the full business. How do you walk us through how you navigate culture change? Because as you're doing these investments to the future, there's a lot of changes and a lot of challenges for people closing stores, things like that. And that's true in every large old company.
Yeah.
How do you navigate the grieving process, the change process, the people who are, I don't want to do Google, I want to stick with Microsoft, I want to do the old things. You're closing a store. How do you navigate that culture change? What's your approach to working that through?
Thanks, Bronson. I really appreciate the question. Let me first put a plug in for Macy's, and it's real. One of the best cultures I've ever worked in my life. No question about it. One of the things I love about the culture of Macy's is that we're competing, but not with each other. We're competing with the outside. I'm not going to ask for a show of hands because I don't want you to expose your organizations. But how many times have you worked in an organization where you feel like you're more competing with the person next to you than the person outside the building? That is not Macy's. Macy's, we're focused on competing externally, and we're all in it together. And we did, as Bronson noted, we did announce some store closures last year. There was very specific reasons for that. Some of it was because somebody made us an offer we couldn't refuse on the real estate, and that mall was potentially going away. So the foot traffic wasn't going to be there anyway. Two is, it was next to another mall that had a Macy's. Why do you need two to support that community? And there's a host of other reasons as well. So some of it could be that maybe the capital to invest to make it the great experience we want was just too rich for us. Number of reasons that could be true. I will say, I don't do the change management side on things like store managers and the culture and how they receive this, but I sure feel it from them. Amazing positivity, amazing. And we're going under a culture focus right now around making sure we're putting the customer first, and people think about it in that lens. I remember a story where somebody got on the call and said, we're going to shut down your store for XYZ reason, and this is when we're going to shut it down. The manager didn't grieve. The manager didn't say, I can't believe, why us, woe is me. The manager literally said, no, you won't, watch. We'll turn this around. And we're going to increase our sales more than you expect, and we'll get off that closing list. Kid you not. And there are proof points where some have actually done that. Believe it or not, some have done it. So that's why I say this culture is so great to be. It's very optimistic, positive culture. So thank you for the question.
Hey, Jennifer Ewer, thank you so much for your time today. I'm a MIS and accounting grad and work in the tech sales and implementation space. Another fun personal story about the perimeter Macy's is I'm a lifelong Macy's shopper. I did several homecoming dress shoppings there, and one time found a dress I loved with a group of friends and scanned it at one of your price scanners, and we all audibly cheered, and we joked that it was a shame that there were no cameras there because it could have been a commercial.
That's great.
Quick question. I know we've talked a lot about trends, predicting trends, and establishing a strategy, but really the key to longevity for any new or long-range business is really assessing against those trends quickly with your data. Can you talk a little bit about any, key challenges or tips you have in that space, right? You've implemented a strategy, and then you look at your data to see how well that strategy is performing in the market and how quickly you may pivot or stick with something like that.
Yeah, thanks, Jennifer, for the question and for the story. Just so you know, you don't even need the price checker, which is good. If you have our mobile app, there's a price checker built into the mobile app. Yet another reason to get your free $10. So just a shameless plug. I will say in the retail industry, there's a saying, retail is detail. In fact, somebody called me once. It wasn't Jeff, but it was a recruiter. And they said, our client really wants to hire somebody from retail. I'm like, why? And they're like, because if you can make it retail, you can make it anywhere. Because it's so complex, but also because of the detail and the focusing on the numbers to make sure you're changing and pivoting your strategy based on what you see. We look at numbers every single day. I am with our CEO and the corporate strategy group, which is effectively called the CSG, where multiple times a week we're looking at numbers and saying, did the strategies that we put in place, whether it be through our assortment, whether it be through our digital and marketing, whatever that may be, are they working? And do we need to adjust and change course? And I'd like to give some examples, and I don't know if I'll get in trouble, so I won't, but we've had some examples where sometimes it's just the message we're getting out there. We have the product, we have the price. How do we get you to buy? And sometimes we just change just the messaging. It really resonates with the consumer. We had a Black Friday in July. People loved Black Friday in July. They loved the concept of having Christmas shopping in July. I'm going to get great deals, right? Just as an example. And so we look at those numbers intently and we pivot constantly. This isn't a quarterly thing. This isn't a yearly thing. This is almost a daily thing. It is a daily thing, not almost. Great question. Thank you, Jennifer. And thank you for your business. I appreciate it.
Good morning. My name is Jenny Arake, and I just graduated from the EMBA here with a couple of my classmates. Go Dogs. I run an HR and recruitment business, and I'm just curious if Macy's does anything to help people going through interview processes, like college students or underprivileged individuals. Any kind of Macy's for Good or CARES initiatives?
Yeah. So is it Jenny?
Yes.
Did I get that right? So Jenny, thanks for the question. I'm not well versed in everything we do. I know we spend a lot of time in the community with things like that. I know, for example, we host a lot of interns within the technology group. We had a host of UGA interns, in fact, this past summer, and some of them even taken on part-time employment with us, and they're actually dual going into school as well as working with us. I know we do some of those, and I personally have looked into it, but I don't know any specifics. So if you want to come find me afterwards, I could try to follow up with you and see what I can get for you.
Yes, great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for the question, Jenny. Good.
Well, Keith,
Yeah.
thank you very much for that story.
Oh,
and insightful
thank you.
comment. Now,
Thank you. Oh,
well, we all know that Keith loves his red and black. So
Yes,
we have
of course.
a keepsake for him to thank
Oh,
you for
thank
spending
you.
time. It's the right colors.
yes, that's perfect. I appreciate it. Appreciate it. I loved my time at Home Depot, but we all know orange could be a really rough color for us. So
In the fall.
yeah,
yes.
thank you for having me, and I really
Thank you.
appreciate it. And congratulations to you again.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks a lot.